knows the relationship, he said, between Brahman and the world. He who understands the relationship or the union between Brahman and the world, the union, he becomes established. What is the union? What is the relationship between Brahman and the world? As we said, Brahman or God is not responsible for the creation of the world. As it is said, many people conveniently, ignorantly attribute God as the creation of the world. God is not responsible for the creation. If you say God is responsible for the creation, the fundamental mistake we do is we attribute motive or desire to God. Because without a motive or a desire, there cannot be any creation. Without the urge to create, you can't go about creating. So if the God has created this world, then there is some responsibility given. You plant motive into God, which is the biggest blunder one would commit, ignorantly. So then what is responsible for the creation? And the seventh mantra, he says, he who knows in reality the supreme manifestation and my union, my yoga, is established. There's no doubt about it. No. What is the theorem we gave ourselves? We said, Brahma Satyam Jagat Nitya. Brahman alone is the reality. There exists nothing other than that. One who does not perceive Brahman, one who doesn't understand Brahman as the reality, out of ignorance projects a pluralistic phenomenon. So in short, what is the relationship between God and the world is ignorance of God has created this world. So when Brahman says, I am the origin and everything has originated from me, it means just like the rope is the origin for the snake to have emerged out, I am the origin and the whole world of plurality has emerged from me. So the root cause of the creation of the world is avidya, is ignorance. And the more one gains the knowledge combats the ignorance and there is cognition of the self. The moment the ignorance is taken out, you get back to the self. That is the theorem, that is the principle we have to hold on to. And that is what was last we discussed. And moving on to the 8th verse, he refers to the same understanding. Therefore, I took a quick reference to that. All right, so let's chant verse 8. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the origin, I am the source of all. From me, everything evolves. Understanding this, matva, having understanding this, the wise, buddha means the wise, worship me, bhajante. How do they worship? Bhava samanvitaha. They are endowed with bhakti, with devotion. So one who understands what was said in the previous mantra, the 6 and 7, one who understands that, sarvam, everything, all, sarvam refers to the microcosm and the macrocosm, the individual and the entire world. I am the origin of all. Brahman is the origin of everything. How to understand? Just like the waker's mind is the origin for the dreamer and the entire happenings in the dream. Everything in the dream, including the dreamer, is the origin, is the waker's mind. These are the standard concepts and examples which you can keep falling back on. Any Vedantic student keeps falling back on these examples because these are irrefutable. They cannot go wrong. They have not gone wrong. And no student will ever get lost if you go back to these oft-quoted examples, fundamentals. And this has been like parampara. Guru has been, Guru after Guru has been you quoting it. So the Shastras have set the tone for a student giving a line of thought. So if you follow the line of thought, it's most likely you will not go wrong. You will not get lost. So he who understands the origin, like the Brahman, as I say, is the origin. From me, everything has evolved. Everything has sprung from me. The waker's mind is the platform where everything has emerged. Like child is born, the dream child is born from the waker's mind. The dream child grows from the waker's mind. The dream child has graduated from the waker's mind. The dream child has grown up and got married. Where? From the waker's mind only. So the child was born where? From the waker's mind. The child has evolved and grown and become an adult and got married and has a family of his own. From where? Everything has originated from the waker's mind. So everything is the origin, and from me everything evolves. Understanding this, the wise worship me. What does the word worship means? The connotation. When you say worship, what is the connotation? When you worship something, what does it mean? Surrender is an extension of worshiping. It starts, but the implication is when I worship something, means what does it mean? I look up to it. There is an element of absorbing yourself of that thought. When I worship my nation, nation consumes my thought. When I worship my family, family is consuming, takes a portion of my thought, my resource, my energy, my time. I'm worshipping my work. When I say work is my worship, work is consuming me. When I say family is worship, family is consuming me. I am devoted to it. Committed, dedicated, consumed. So when you say bhajati, which means worshipping, bhajante means worshipping, means you're being consumed with that thought. You're occupied with the thought. And whenever there is a mention of this, it implicates bhajante, worshipping cannot be a part-time, pastime activity. You can't have a divided loyalty to what you worship. You can't be day 1 Hindu, day 2 Muslim, day 3 Christian, day 4 Buddhist, day 5 Zoroastrian, day 6 thinking which religion to follow. Day 7 I'm an atheist. You are neither here nor there. You don't know who you are. So what is implicated when you say worship? It must be a full-time awareness. So when one who worships God can never not think of the Lord in anything he does. That is bhakti, that is worship. So when they say worshipping is nothing but an open-eyed meditation. Open-eyed meditation means what? When you say open-eyed means when your eyes are open, what does it mean? When you open your eyes, when you keep your eyes open, what does it implicate?
That you are awake and you are aware of the things around you, Guruji.
You are awake,
yeah.
You are aware of the things. Okay, but when you close your eyes, what's happening? You're not
You're
aware.
go.
You're not
You're
awake, is it?
no. I mean, it depends, Guruji.
That's why I'm clarifying you. When you say open your eyes, you're aware, awake. When you close your eyes, you're extreme opposite. Huh? No, not really.
No, not necessarily.
When a person is sitting quietly by himself,
yeah, he's
he's
going
just
within
shut his
himself.
eyes.
Yeah.
When a person closes his eyes, what's happening?
He's going within himself, Guruji. He's internalizing his thoughts, his this thing.
See, before I spoke about the open-eyed meditation, or in fact, explaining open-eyed meditation, I said, when you keep your eyes open,
Yeah.
I'm explaining what open-eyed meditation is. Who is that you to everyone? Is it you? I was wondering when did I reply that? It's not you, it's not me, it's Gayatri Ma. Please change it to Gayatri Ma, that name. That you is not me. Not me, it's you. And who is that you? Gayatri. I am not saying the wrong answer. See, when you open the eyes, what happens is your attention is outward. The moment you keep your eyes open, your attention is outward, you are more action driven. You are interested in the world, you participate in the world, your activities are extroverted. That's what again, when you do that, you're still performing external actions. So open-eyed meditation is not just performance of the ritual of the puja. It is to do various activities. You may be cooking, you may be going, you may be driving, you may be singing, you may be doing any chores out there. Whatever activity that you do externally, in and through those activities, what must be your thought? You must practice bhajante.
Worshipping the God.
You must worship the God while you're doing open-eyed meditation. You're cooking. While you're cooking, you can be cursing somebody also. That stupid maid, I tell you, I told her to come. Today is a festival day or there is some function in the house. I told that lady to come early, but look at that woman. Now I have to clean the house. I have to get ready. I have to cook. I have to do the puja. So while you're cooking, what is the thought? Cursing that lady, cursing everybody, cursing this, cursing that. Are you thinking of the Lord while you're cooking? Where is your thoughts? Bhajate is worship. Worshipping means consuming. So what consumes your thought? While you do multifold activities, you must think of the Lord. That is bhajate. So when they say bhajate, worship, it starts with open-eyed meditation and then it leads up to, from dharana, it comes to dhyana. Dharana is an open-eyed meditation. Then comes dhyana, which is single-pointed concentration. When one is ready for dhyana, you sit quietly in a place where you are not wanting to be disturbed by the world. You are not available for the world. You shut your eyes. Means I'm not available for the world. That doesn't mean you're sleeping. You are away from the world. You're introverted. There you're not performing any external actions. Only action is to align your thoughts. But when you're doing open-eyed meditation, you're doing many, many thoughts. There's only one interest. So in and through, you must have the thought of the higher. That is, in fact, a prerequisite to meditate. If you can't do that, there's no question of doing this. And then he says, such a person, bhavasamanvitaha, is endowed with devotion. So in order to maintain that constant awareness, what is it that's required? If you want to keep a constant awareness on anything, what is it that is what is required to do so? as I've just said, open-eyed meditation. No. In the open-eyed meditation, you must maintain a constant thought in the various activities, isn't it? In order to maintain that, Jashima, what is required? Very easy, it is abhyasa.
Concentration on particular work.
Yes, concentration is the one work.
Yes.
But if you have to consistently maintain, there's a difference between concentration and consistency. You get it? Now you are concentrating, but are you concentrating throughout the class?
Try to concentrate.
I'm not saying not you're not. I'm saying there's a difference between this moment vis-a-vis the whole 1.5 hours. It's not this classroom. Now what do you do the rest of the day? So to have that constancy of thought, in order to maintain a constancy of thought or consistency of thought, the question is, what is required?
Devotion.
What is required? So when you say worshipping something, it's element of, if I say that, I'm answering myself. So that's a problem. I don't want to answer that. Okay. Fine, Jeshima, no problem. Sanjay.
The thing that comes to my mind is you need an understanding of the greatness in order to, you need an appreciation of the fact that they are so of the greatness that it's always in your mind, even through your normal actions, through your daily activities.
Can you get to the question again, Sanjay?
The question that I've understood is, how do you maintain that? How do you maintain concentration?
How do you maintain that consistency of thought in the multifold activities that you do? What is it that's required? Without that, you can't maintain the consistency of thought. Don't we all find difficulty in keeping a consistency? We are all very sincere, very genuine, but yet we keep going off focus.
Yeah.
So what helps us to keep that consistency going? As Shantima has said, it is the role of the buddhi, the intellect. So the job of the intellect is to maintain consistency of thought. So one of the definitions of the mind is inconsistent. Mind is compared to a monkey. Correct? There's a monkey mind, they say, yeah. So what is a monkey mind? The nature of the monkey is attributed to the mind. And the mind's nature is it's never stable. It is never at a place. Even if it's at a place, it is very fidgety. Oscillates place to place. You listen to me first. Your mind, where is your mind? Oscillating. It is never at a place, jumping from place to place, asthira. If it is at a place, very fidgety. It is restless. So, if you operate on the mind, what will happen is you can't be consistently doing something. The inconsistency comes in. So if you want to maintain a consistency of thought, intellect must come. So consistency is an attribute of intellect. Worshipping is the quality of the head. And then when he says, there are two qualities he uses, two words, bhajate, bhavasamanvitaha. One is the quality for the head, another is a quality for the heart. So devotion is the quality for the heart. You must be devoted and you must worship. Even though they both seem to be the same, but there's a difference. Other interpretation. Worshipping something means consume of something. consume of something means to be occupied with the thought. And how to be occupied? 24 hours I must be occupied with the thought. Not once in a while, no. How to be occupied 24 hours? When you make your actions consistent. What is it that makes actions consistent? It's the buddhi. So therefore, worship is quality of the intellect. This is how you conclude thought process. Correct, Yashima? Isn't it? You got it, no? And then he says, be devoted. Devotion, what is devotion? What is bhakti? Like a mom takes care of the child. There is an enormous love between the mother and the child. So as we always say, bhakti and devotion and love are one and the same feeling. Feeling is the same of oneness, of identification. So unless and until you have that love for what you want to become, if I don't love what I do, if I don't enjoy, if I don't have the passion, if I have not fallen in love with what I teach, it's impossible for me to have my head to it. I cannot. So my head and heart, my intellect and my mind, both must be to the self. Then only, he says, you will get to the goal. So the internal equipments, the sadhana of the internal equipments of the head and the heart must be perfectly in harmony. Both must participate. That's ideal. And then there is a beautiful symphony. There is a music. So in the next verse, he gives the integrated sadhana for those who have made their head and heart ready for the union with the self. If you, now my heart is somewhere else, my head is somewhere else. Like Venkatji, yeah? Venkatji, isn't it? That Venkatji was just sharing this is another Venkatji, not our Venkatram. Venkateshan sir, huh? Venkateshan, huh? Venkateshan ji. He was just sharing of his experience of attending, not to take mention of who and what, of his experience of attending Gita lectures by a very well-known person. And then he said, after a while, he found that there is a clear shift, a paradigm shift, in fact, from teaching to fundraising. The entire objective was only towards money, 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 money. From one point where you're worshipping the Gita, next moment they're worshipping the donation. So much so, it brought about a discord in him because he was not able to associate. The object is changed. The purpose with which you went, you couldn't associate further. Am I right, sir? So what am I saying? If you don't fall in love with what you do, how can you maintain that consistency? The mind changes its course. Intellect must keep the mind to its course so it doesn't get distracted. The nature of the mind is to jump from one thing to other. In my life, I pray that my mind will not lose the charm for the Gita. If only if I can seek one blessings from the Lord, I'll say, oh Lord, let me not get tired of teaching this knowledge. Let me not get tired of studying this knowledge. Let my mind not get interest in anything else but this. 32 years I'm doing this. Is it not possible? Let's do something else. Huh? Read another guru, read another interpretation, read another text, read another thing. Talmud you should read. I've heard so much of Talmud. You know Talmud? What is Talmud? Talmud is a Jewish scripture. Their scripture is Talmud. Oh, I've heard of Talmud. I should learn Talmud. What does it? Your mind suddenly will switch to something else. What is Dharmapada saying? Hold on to something, give your life to it. Your head and heart must give. And there's moksha in each word of this Shastra. Can I squeeze that from this? To do that, I must have my head and heart very clearly resolved. I must have bhakti, and I must worship it. Must worship it with bhakti. There's no question of blind here. Constant understanding. Okay, 9 please. Steadfastness and consistency is, you can take it as the same quality, sir. Nishchala tattva. Steadfastness, you can say it's same quality. Machitta matkata pranaha bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Machitta matkata pranaha bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. With their mind resting in me, with pranas, which is life's activities absorbed in me, enlightening one another, and even speaking of me, they are satisfied and delighted. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Two qualities, they are delighted and they are contented. Tushyanti, contented. Ramanti, they're delighted. They're excited. So this verse provides a comprehensive sadhana, as I've said, for those who have prepared their head and heart. If you have got your head and heart ready, then you must practice this. Otherwise, get your mind and intellect ready first. Don't jump into it. And one who does 9th, 10th mantra only meditation. No way he mentions meditation without preparation. Anywhere in the Shastras they talk of meditation, couple of mantras they mention of preparation. What is the preparation? Speaking of me. Speaking of me, speech, your organs of action, your pranas, your organs of perception. You're pronouncing the Atman through the actions, which is karma yoga. You perform karma, selfless, unselfish work from morning to night. Every action, you're only trying to do how best you can serve others. There is no question of grabbing anything for yourself. There's no question of thinking of your own self. In fact, you forget yourself in the process of doing work. That is karma. When you do karma, the thought of I and my doesn't exist. That is selfless work. So, speaking of me, pranas refers to organs of perception, organs of action. Mind resting in me refers to bhakti yoga, where you're not swayed by the emotions, not carried away by the various feelings and thoughts, feelings and emotions rather. So you're maintaining the attention on Atman or Brahman. Enlightening one another refers to your constant steady abhyasa, sadhana of study, reflection. And when two people meet, what would we discuss? Only nothing but the truth. Enlightening one another. After the class, what is the subject of discussion? Everything else except Vedanta. Where are we? Where is that? Satsang should continue beyond the classroom. Not after that, every other topic under the sun is discussed. What could be the atmosphere where all of us, even when we are prasadam time, we are only talking about the truth. I will not divulge anything other than the truth. Politics doesn't interest me. I'm not interested in that. I may be acquainted. I know what it is, but I'm not interested in talking about it. That kind of an attitude. That is Jnana Yoga. It's a constant. Bodhayanta. Bodha means to teach. Bodha means to teach. So you're only dialoguing the knowledge, the thoughts of the Atman. So your organs of perception, which are your Jnanindriyas, organs of action, your Karmendriyas, your Manas and Buddhi, all are employed in the pursuit. Ramji, what is the most important word in the verse? Share the verse for Ramji's benefit. Gayatri Ma. Verse 9, please. Can you just share? What is the most important word in the entire? How come the important word is missing? Go. English la parvala, but can you pick up the word?
With their mind resting in me.
The mind
resting in me.
So he is saying that in me many times, no? The mind in me, absorbed in me, speaking of me, etc.
Otherwise, Parasparam is the one.
What is Parasparam?
Parasparam means with each other, with one another. Together.
Parasparam. Parasparam means one another.
Each other.
Parasparam. So I enlighten you.
You enlighten me.
Minimize it. Everybody will see what you're typing. By Gamma. You type there, everybody will see what you're typing there. It's an open secret then. I told her to type it, but not openly to everybody. Okay, everybody in the class here will see, not online. Okay, parvala, type annugo. Online they can't see because she's not sharing the screen.
Oh.
Type that. Now share it. Where did that word go? Not there. Where? So the word always.
Always.
Nityam.
Nityam tushyanti
Atayantascha mam nityam.
Nityam.
Enlightening one another and even always speaking of me. So that instead of the word even, we'll replace the word even with always. Okay. That's the essential word.
Yeah, always.
You also worship, I also worship. But the problem between me and you and others is we don't worship constantly. That Nityam is not there. So it's not a casual worship. It's a constant worship. That is the difference between a real aspirant and a person who is not qualified for this sadhana. Nirantarya. Nirantaram. Constant. Correct, Ramji?
Yes, sir.
Nityam.
Nityam tushyanti cha ramanta cha.
And one who is able to practice this constantly, then he gives the quality control. What's the quality control?
Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Should be excited and
Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. What does it mean?
delighted and excited. Should
One
do it
who
with
is
enthusiasm.
contented and
Excited,
delighted.
delighted.
Tushyanti refers to the external world. You're satisfied with whatever world has provided you with. It's possible I am never contented with what the world has given. It could be reputation, it could be name, it could be fame, it could be wealth, it could be health, it could be respect, it could be knowledge. I crave for more. I'm not contented with myself. With what the world has given me, I'm not contented. But a person who does all this, who is attended to his head and heart, and does the sadhana, he will find himself very contented in his life, any stage of his life. Go 5-10 years back into your life. Yes, sir, I had very less of the respect, very less of the knowledge, very less of the wisdom, very less of the world with me. But still, I was as contented as I am today. 10 years down the road, everything will be far more or far less, God knows. But still, I'm still as contented as I should be. So contentment refers to, with reference to the world, what the world gives you. You're satisfied with reference to the external world. Ramanti is, I am reveling within myself. So Tushyanti is with reference to the external world. Ramanti is with reference to oneself. This is the quality control of a spiritually aspiring student to measure, am I really evolving? How do I test myself spiritually? Venkatesan sir, he came in the spirit of conversation asking me, do you take corporate talks? What was my answer? Give the mic to him. You are answering on his behalf, you'll tell.
How you are engaged, of yourself engaged? Are you actively involved in corporate classes? How you are engaged?
To which, what did he say?
I am not after it.
To which I said, I am not after it. I am not running behind corporate talks. I am not running behind it. I am not going behind it. If it comes, I will go. That's not my focus. I am quite contented where I am, doing my sadhana. It's for me to find out, am I complacent? Is it tamas or sattva? I need to figure that out.
Sattva.
I don't know.
Sattva only. Contented.
Contented. If I am not happy, I am not getting opportunities to give corporate talks, I am discontented. I may not have opportunities, which may be truth, but am I discontented about it? That's the quality control I got to do. Because I am desiring more of that part of the world. I wish I had that. I'm happy with the world, whatever it gives. I'm happy within myself. So I revel within myself. At the same time, the external world doesn't add to my joy or doesn't diminish my joy. The two beautiful words, Tushanti Ramanti. So at every stage, you need to keep checking. Where am I faltering? The moment you're faltering, I need to go back and attend to it. Constant audit, absolutely. So Ramji, what is it why is it one is not contented in life? What's the reason?
Because
you're not given to anybody.
1 minute, Ramji. Sorry, sir.
You're not given the remote to anybody.
Why should
Remote,
you report
remote.
to anybody?
Remote. You are not remote controlled. Somebody cannot control your desire or
Yeah, you should have your remote with you, no? Please don't give to anybody. Your remote should be with you, my remote should be with me. How can I control anybody? Correct. Yeah, Ramji. The question is, why is it one is not contented in life?
that is because when desires are fulfilled, they give rise to more desires. And you're always pursuing more and more desires. When you have done something, then you go to Everest base camp, then you want to go to the top of the Everest.
No.
That is
Don't do that. I am very contented with base camp.
no, you are contented, sir. But I'm saying those who try to go to the top, they have that void when they're at the base camp. They want to go to the top. So that desire, unfulfilled desires will keep on increasing.
The fundamental reason why one is not contented is because you entertain desires. You entertain more and more desires. And desire means, what is synonymous of desires?
It's synonymous with desires.
Which is result of, which tantamounts to not being contented. Which means you're not happy.
Yeah.
What is that synonym? Dukkha. You can say that dukkha, desire, desire is the root cause of sorrow.
Unhappiness.
Philosophically, what does desire mean? Extrovert. Somebody saying, Padmanabha is saying ignorance. What is desire, Harish?
It's a constant wanting, constantly wanting.
Constant wanting suggests to which tense?
Present and future.
Sorry?
Present,
How can you say present tense?
constant wanting. Future, yeah, constant
want
wanting,
something-
present and future.
You want something from the future, in the future,
Yes.
something you do not have. So desire is living in the future. Craving. Desiring or craving is to live in the future. But contentment or happiness is synonymous to be present here, now, this moment. So if I were to arrest my life with whatever it is presenting, I should be contented. I should be able to revel within myself. Means with or without the world, I'm happy. With or without the world, I should be happy. Is there another? Johnson.
They say if you are not contented now, you cannot be contented ever. Because whatever be the status and what life throws at us, we have to be contented at any given time.
At any given time. So, this many people fail to apply this principle in life. In the name of aspiration and growth, they miss the point that they
I will-
attribute happiness only to something that they don't have. So they are now contented and happy.
They have a feeling I will be happy if I achieve that. But the moment they achieve, they aspire for more.
The mind keeps going more and more away from. Mind is never in the present. That's another quality you should never fall a prey to. Since the mind is always onto something it doesn't have, the mind draws you away into the future and you are ever discontented. So to be contented is to arrest this quality of the mind to not chase desires.
See, people mistake being contented means not
Active.
aspiring for higher, which is not correct. Aspirations are different and desires are different. Aspiration means it's a higher goal.
Correct. Aspiration means it has a role of the intellect. The intellect plays a role, which is a higher goal you have. Desire means it is a selfish role of the mind. The mind is just running behind its fascinations, its karma. They're different. Correct. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Only out of happiness you'll be in a position to realize your happiness. Not when you chase. When you chase, it keeps moving away. It's a
Keeps
mirage.
Absolutely.
Only now, present, right now, I'm happy this moment and every moment, contented. Then it can bring about the joy. Then the joy really flourishes.
Correct. Sir, in the Shastras, desire means selfish. In the language of Shastras, kamaha means selfish. அதுக்கு வேற மீனிங்கே இல்லை. That is not desire. It is not used as desire. But when you work for larger interests, they say it's a goal or a purpose or an ideal. There is no selfishness. There's a mistake. Terms, they use it differently, but so, no, ambition is a positive connotation. Ambition, aspiration, a goal, ideal, purpose, all are on one aspect, one side. My aim, ambition is to do that. So there, to that extent, it's a very pure connotation. Any feverish attachment is gone. Krishna is gone. So one who is contented and delighted only is worthy of meditating. Every guru must tell it outside. The problem is they're not telling it. Tenth. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhir yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam Dadami buddhir yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Tesham satata yuktanam, to those ever steadfast, worshipping me with love, I give the buddhi yoga. Dadami buddhir yogam tam, the union of intellect by which they come to me. Tesham, mind is fully prepared and made available for meditation. As I've said throughout the scriptures, they have said an ill-prepared mind should not meditate, cannot meditate. When the mind is ready, ever steadfast worshipping, then you put such a mind through Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is through the intellect. So meditation is an essential quality. In fact, what is the definition of meditation? Many a definition don't have this aspect, which is what this verse is highlighting. The verse is saying the definition of meditation. Now, meditation is an art of keeping your mind to a single thought with the exclusion of all other thoughts under, this is the important part, under the supervision of your intellect. This is the definition of meditation. Now, many people don't talk of the intellect at all. This is what he's saying. One who has done what is prescribed in 9th mantra with keeping your mind steadfast and worshipping me with love, then you do Buddhi Yoga, means you bring in your intellect. So, in meditation, what is happening is the intellect is supervising the mind. The difference between any thought flow if it is done without an intellect and with the intellect. What is the difference? When any thought flow happens without the intellect participating, it is known as There is no control over it. It is indulgence. It is driven by the mind. And what it does, when you, any activity which your mind participates, what it does is it creates desires, which is the very opposite of meditation. The job of meditation is to remove the last thought. But while if your mind does anything by itself, you create desires. But when it's done with the intellect, it is known as concentration or meditation. And when you do it, it eradicates your desires. So it has two opposite effects. So when he says Buddhi Yoga, the role of intellect is paramount. Yesterday, somebody was being referred that they meditate. And the irony of it is, I know that person so well, very well. Thought of being a psychiatric patient. That person claims meditation. Big joke. You have no, there's no sanity. There's no head on her head. And yet that person claims to meditate. There's such a loose thing today. It's so deeply concerning for some of us who know how it is being malpracticed. See, Tushyanti, Ramanti, then meditate. Tushyanti, Ramanti, enter this classroom, otherwise get out. You're not fit for this knowledge. How many of you will qualify to enter the classroom? Completely contented. I'm reveling with myself, sir. Then you enter for the wisdom, quality control. Okay? Okay. The standard is so high, the benchmark is so high, people are just diluting it and just bringing it down to a mere exercise. Not to be that way. These are the verses that highlight the importance and gravity of the concept. So you must be very mindful when you ever get into these kind of exercises. Otherwise, you will do, not only you do harm to yourself, you do harm to others. Dangerous. Understood the preliminary practice that needs to be done even before we meditate is, as said in the previous verses, the karma bhakti jnanam. The karma bhakti jnanam is the, we say, 98% of your sadhana is spent in karma bhakti jnana. In fact, I was telling to the person yesterday who came that 30 years I don't meditate. And I don't feel ashamed to say I don't meditate. Because 98% of a spiritual sadhana is only getting ready to meditate. His last 2% is meditation. And then culmination. 1%, I would say 1%. 1% is inspiration. 99% is perspiration. This is not being Not the Shastras are holding the truth, but it is my duty to tell the truth to you. So you come to me to learn meditation, I say, I myself don't know how to meditate. I can't teach you. Out you go. I will not teach meditation. Because it's not something I can teach you. And yet it's the easiest thing to teach. Teach you to meditate is the easiest thing, but that's not the right thing one should do. What should one do? Perform the karma bhakti jnanam. And what does karma bhakti jnanam do? It offloads the desires and makes your pursuit steadfast. So what makes it steadfast is your distractions are gone. You're not interested in many things that the world has to offer. Sir, when are you interested in the world? You're only interested in the world when you have a desire, no? When the desires are dropped, are you still interested in the world? You may do things, but you may do out of no interest. Okay. You go through that experience as a witness. You're not excited. You don't chase the desires. So the actions towards the self, Pushpam Ardhamavutunda, steadfastness means I'm going consistently towards my goal. I'm not getting distracted by many things. When do I get distracted by the world? When I have desire for the world. So what karma bhakti jnana does is it offloads the desires. So when I offload the desires, I have not interest in the world. The world doesn't distract me. So my actions become steadfast. Means I'm very clear what I'm going to get. And then you give that to a person who is steadfast, give buddhi yoga. The one person inspiration, he will attain moksha. I'll give an example and I'll conclude. A standard example that is given is, imagine I'm pushing a piston into a cylinder. The inner layers of the cylinder is rusted. The outer layer of the piston also is rusted. And I'm trying to put force by pushing the piston to cylinder. A point will come, it will break. Sheer friction, it will break. So a mind which is ill-prepared, you're trying to force it to meditate on the self, is like pushing a rusted piston into a rusted cylinder. It will not work. But then abhyasa is, they say, you take a rod, hit out all the flakes on the piston, take a rough emery paper, rough out all the flakes, take a fine emery paper, take out all the fine dust particles, take a clean cloth, clean it off, take a lubricating agent, apply enough lubricant inside the cylinder, apply enough lubricant outside the piston, and when you do that and come and leave the piston on the cylinder, it just slides in. That process of effortless sliding of the piston to the cylinder is realization. And that is possible, that effortless process of it getting into the cylinder is because of all the effort you put in of removing all the impurities and the rust particles, which made it impossible for it to penetrate, because the gap between the cylinder and piston is insignificant. And yet that has to be clear for it to pass through. Now with flakes of rust, how can it pass through? You're pushing it. Come on, meditate, force it. It has serious consequences. Without the desires being removed, one should not meditate. This is not my truth. This is what the Shastra is saying. And if you have no eyes to see, I can't let anybody see it. Can't let see it. Sad, I can't. Yeah, pashyati sapashyati. You see it or don't see it. That's all I can say. I feel only sorry for those who can't see it. But one, that's why I say, is 99% sadhana. That is what, as I said, in the 9th mantra he says. Even before he comes to 9th mantra, he spends in the 8th mantra. He says, get yourself bhakti. Get yourself devoted. Worship and bhakti. Then he gives karma bhakti jnanam. Then only he gives the, you know, the chart for spiritual growth, isn't it? The correct, Vasantama? Correct. So, the karma, bhakti, jnanam, this should constitute 98% of your sadhana. And I'm not exaggerating a wee bit. If you want me to, I know we all Indians are very good at bargaining. Since you will bargain, I will say, no, sir. Sorry. I will say, let's say 97%, sir. 97% of your sadhana must be in karma, bhakti, jnanam. And this may take aneka janma to create. Janma evolution. Not possible in one janma you're taking this. Impossible. And then you come to a state of uparati. And what is uparati? Vasantama? Uparati is mental withdrawal from the world. Mark, it is not physical withdrawal, it is mental withdrawal. Means you are physically doing whatever you have to do, but you are not mentally interested. You are withdrawn. I have no value for it. What Purusha is coming? What Purusha movie is coming? No, what is it? Even Adi Purusha invitation comes, you say, no, thank you. What's information, Miko? ఇప్పుడు వచ్చిందా సరే లైవ్ న్యూస్ టికెట్ ఆది పురుష్ is being released in the theaters. Box office ticket, VVIP ticket you will get. No, thank you. Oh, Rama come, let Sita come, let both of them come. No, thank you. What is your attitude? Disinterest. So many things in the world will have no interest for you. This you will experience. You don't put on an act to impress the world. Genuinely, the world will not interest you. Genuinely, you feel there is no substance in it. I don't know who said that. I think Socrates said that. Whenever I pass by a shop, I wonder at the number of things a man can do without. Man, do you need it? Life can go on without it. But yet, it interests somebody. That's the reason these shops are exhibited. Whenever I pass by a shop, I wonder the number of things a man can do without. I can do without it. Now, how many things can you do without? Means you have no interest in it. So, this is one of the quality control. Even before you start doing dharana, you come to uparati. A clear quality control. You simply can't bypass these scriptures. Dharana is, as I have mentioned a little earlier, an open-eyed meditation. I would, let's say, to be more charitable, I will say there's 95% of your sadhana is there. Then last 4% of your journey is in open-eyed meditation. Dhyana is meditation, which is sitting with your eyes closed. And this is the last 1% of your spiritual journey. And once you do that, you become one with the whole, the Supreme Self, where you attain self-realization. This is the actual journey. Whether you want to take this route or don't want to take this route, the choice is yours. Whether you have faith in these men and say, I go by this, or I find a route of my own, that is your freedom. But this is what the Shastra said. These are the scriptural injunctions. On. Just press the button at the bottom and hold it. Hold it. You see, does it show green? Yes, sir.
We are not able to use the intellect during meditation. So, to ensure that the intellect aspect is properly utilized, this Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga will help. Or what are the tips?
To develop the intellect?
Yeah.
See, the intellect part is developed through spiritual abhyasa, which refers to study and reflection of this knowledge. When you study the knowledge, you must do manana. Like when you do what you're doing now is shravana. You're listening, you're taking notes, you're clarifying. So you're only receiving the raw material. Once the raw material is received, as a seeker, one has to go and do
Churning out the knowledge.
keep regurgitating the knowledge. And as cattle chew the cud, you chew this knowledge by revisiting these ideas again and again, questioning and understanding. That is manana. When that is done only in the early hours between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., you are blessed with an intellect condition. When you do that in the early morning, you get the cream of knowledge, which is wisdom, which is buddhi. Not 10 o'clock in the morning, not 9 o'clock in the evening. Now, there is no wisdom available at that hour. Wisdom is only available Brahma Muhurtam. What you have earned is available. You want to get fresh wisdom, get up 4 o'clock. Not, there is no wisdom before 4 a.m. There is no fresh wisdom available beyond 6 a.m. And those who experience that hour know what I'm talking. Everything else is only consolidating. It will be reassuring what I'm doing. Rest of the day, whatever I do is just to assure, yes, this is my path. It's effortless reminder. But if I don't do the early morning, I'll be only chalk appearing as cheese. I'm not real cheese. I'm not real substance. I'm only fake appearing as real. But if I do the real abhyasa, so the missing link before you do nididhyasana is manana, which nobody does. Because the most auspicious hour to sleep is 4 o'clock. People say, oh, it's such a strong sleep you get at 4 o'clock, sir, I tell you. Real deep sleep is only at Brahma Muhurtam. And you tell me to get up, what are you telling, sir? So many people have dropped me because I keep insisting getting up at 4 o'clock. They said, I dropped the guru. So I said, namaskaram. The abhyasa is not easy. Spiritual growth is not taking a walk in the park. Once you do that, you got the bull by the horns. Then you get the intellect. Then you can tell the mind what to do. no way the mind will do Tandava on you. Now the mind is doing Tandava. Whatever it says, you listen to it. Now you just say shut up, it shuts up. You say stand up, it stands up. They say Telugu anta goda kurchi antaru kada. There is a yoga posture. What is the yoga posture, Shiva? You sit like a chair on the wall. As if you're sitting. Huh? Hey, chair asana illa pudus asana per kudukrunga. For traditional asana, give the original name pa. Kursi asana va. This is pudusa Haresh, what is the asana you know? They as if you're sitting on a chair, you do that. Just because you endorse, he says, doesn't become truth. I will not accept the kurchi asana. But it is like kurchi asana. Enna Gamma, what asana is that? You know? No idea. To understand that. Okay. There is a technical name for that. Why are we talking of chair asana now? No, why are we talking of chair asana? Your mind, you tell whatever to do, it will do. You tell the mind to sit like a chair asana, it will sit. You say to keep quiet, it will quiet. You tell it to run, it will run. You are its master or are you its slave? The powerful control. If the day you become the master of your mind, that day you're ready to meditate. Remember that. Till you become the master of the mind, do not even think of meditating, because meditation is to completely master the mind. If I can't even control the mind, how can I master the mind, sir? Is it not putting the cart before the horse? I can't do that. With the desires I can't bypass the desire. That's the reason the karma bhakti jnana is given, to offload the desires. This is time consuming. Aneka janma. But what is guaranteed is moksha. Can't brush the desires under the carpet and say it's gone. They're only sleeping. Huh? Utkatasana. Utkatasana. Utkatasana is been, the modern name is Kurchi Asana. My God, what marketing, what marketing. Nala market pandrege Shivaji. They'll run away. Utke chale jao. Right, Utkatasana, you're right. Okay, we'll come back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.